Pedestal Life Society. My name is Brill, and today I want to talk about how to be treated like a queen, the Maiden Edition. Right now, this video is for women who has dominant energy as Maiden in our feminine archetype series. If you haven't watched the feminine archetype that I did was the lover, go and check out my last video. And we're going to go ahead and jump in here and talk about women who have that dominant energy of Maiden. The maiden is the original damsel in distress. The energy of the maiden is innocent, playful. She looks at the world through her heart and has the unique ability to see it with new everyday eyes. The maiden is very sensitive, empathetic, and strongly believes in the good in people. The thing is, when the immature maiden energy, if you have not fine tuned and matured that energy, what will happen is that you will attract narcissistic, egomaniacs, abusive, and controlling people because you are so empathetic and you see the good in people. And it's not a bad thing, honestly. I think the energy that maidens carry is absolutely needed in this world. We want you to carry that light. We want you to carry that innocence. We want you to have that childlike presence in the world because you literally carry hope. So that's not a bad thing to see the good in people. That is the reason why you have to fine tune that energy so that you can create strict boundaries for yourself, so you're not taken advantage of, so people don't use you or manipulate you. Because I'm quite sure if you haven't fine-tuned and matured that energy, you probably attracted a lot of people who want to use you or who want to manipulate you, or you've been in type of commitments or relationships where they're very controlling or abusive because you see the good in them. See, the beautiful thing that maidens have is this ability to kind of shut down everything. And what I mean by that, the ability to close your eyes and start over. What I mean by that, the ability to, if something is disrespectful or something you feel is mean, you easily forgive them and you start over with them. And having that ability is a great thing. Like I said, I don't want you to lose what is innocence and pure and joy and light of the world, because we really need more of that maiden energy in the world. The more that the maiden is is tainted, and I don't want to, let me make sure I explain this properly. What I mean by tainted, the more that the innocence of the maiden is tainted, jaded, she becomes more negative and more victim mentality. And she tends to withdraw from the world. And we really don't need this type of energy to withdraw. This type of energy is a light to the world. It is a draw. It is it's innocent. And we want to protect that. That's the reason why I have members who have maiden energy, and my best friend has maiden energy, and I make sure I do my best to protect that energy and to make sure that it is taken care of in the way that it's supposed to be. But it is up to the woman who has that dominant energy of maiden energy, that she has strict boundaries. You need to take time and have all of the boundaries. I'm saying time, sexual, friends, family, romantic boundaries. You need to have all of the boundaries active, because that energy of innocence and playful and pure energy that you have, there is no being stingy with the energy, because you are that thing. You are that energy. And that is absolutely needed in the world because you carry hope. And the more that you are experiencing the world, you become tainted, jaded by it, you become more negative, you withdraw from it. Then that means we have hope leaving the world. So we want you to maintain that maiden energy. And hopefully in this video, I can help you to figure out the things that you need to focus in on so that you can hone that energy, fine tune it, and mature it so that you can be a grown woman with maiden energy. Because you don't want to lose it. You don't want to squash it or get rid of it. I think it's absolutely needed to have that level of innocence, that level of the world, cup is half empty energy, where you have like an abundance and you have optimism, which is absolutely needed. We need more of that in the world versus the Debbie Downers and the doom and gloom and the end of the world type of energy, because the more of you, the more we bring and manifest hope and innocence in the world, versus if you continue to not have any boundaries and you bring the wrong type of people in your life. Hey, Daisy. Hey, Zero. But the immature maiden can attract the wrong type of people in her life because of the fact that she has this mentality that she sees the good in everyone. And like I said, that's a great thing. It just requires boundaries. You need to have strict boundaries. I can't allow you to have loosey goosey boundaries with maiden energy. Because if you have loosey goosey boundaries, you're gonna attract more people who see taking advantage of you and manipulating you is like taking candy from a baby, because you're so innocent and you're so in that energy of purity and the energy of childlike, and that energy has to be fine tuned and matured. A woman that has that energy, she want to make sure that she takes back her power, because Maiden energy has this ability not only to see the good in everybody else, but also to daydream. And then daydreaming can mean that she becomes a bystander in her life instead of an active participant. That is the reason why people come in, they're like, I can take advantage of her, because you're all in your body, all in your daydreams, you're all in that pure energy of childlike innocence, that you seem to be someone that's easily taken advantage of, and then they attempt to. That's the reason why the boundaries are so important, because once you have the boundaries, then you don't have to worry about people taking advantage of you, or tainting that energy, or you having to withdraw from the world with that energy, because that is what's happening with grown women who have that maiden energy. They're withdrawing because they have been deceived. They have become jaded. They have had so many experiences and they haven't been really pleasant, that the women who are grown with that energy and it hasn't been fine-tuned and hasn't been matured, they have withdrawn. And that's the reason why you kind of see, if you actually pay attention to the energetic levels in this world, you can tell that there is a more of a lack of hope there. And see, maiden energy brings in that hope. It brings in that innocent. That light is so pure. There's no hiding it, because you are that. You are that. You are that energy, that innocence. And so that is the reason why you have to, if you have that energy and you feel like it's immature and you need to fine tune and mature that energy, then you need to get your boundaries, figure out what boundaries you need to implement in your life. You also need to take your personal power back, because the more that you become or stay a bystander in your life, the more people who come in are going to look at you as a way to take advantage of you. They see that you don't have that personal power, personal responsibility, and no direction in life. So they feel like they can give you that direction. And usually people who feel like they can give you that direction, usually they don't mean you any well. Okay. They don't mean you any good by doing that. They just see it as taking candy from a baby. They feel like it's easy to do, so they do so. And so as a maiden and having that energy of being very shy and being very, hold on, y'all. I'm getting distracted by this camera. It's in my face. Between this live and the last, I'm feeling so seen and heard. Absolutely. See, the thing is, if you look around, you can kind of tell that grown women who have maiden energy are starting to withdraw. How do you know that? It's because those women are withdrawing, and you can feel the level of not empathy, the loss of empathy that's leaving from the world. You can feel the loss of innocence. You can feel the loss of purity leaving the world, just because these women are withdrawing from it. They are the light. They carry this light within themselves. That's the reason why I'm not going to give them the advice of being stingy with their energy. You don't need to be stingy with your energy. You need to have more boundaries. Your boundaries need to be strict. You need to get on a journey of self-discovery so that you can get on that journey of deciding who you are. Because the more that a woman who has made energy understands herself, the more that she is able to become more secure, more confident, understanding her purpose and direction, the more that she is able to understand her strengths and take back her power versus giving it away. And so as the maiden, All of these things that the maiden bring, I think they're all wonderful. I think that you just need to fine tune it, just fine tune it and mature it. A lot of times I've come across women who are maidens, but they don't want to be that. They want to be some other feminine archetype because they want to be stronger. They don't want to be as passive. They don't want to be as empathetic. They don't want to be as sensitive. And see, these things help maidens to also be very intuitive. So that is the reason why others seek you out also, because you have that connection. You're highly intuitive. You're highly empathetic. You see the good in people. So you hold that light. So just imagine, even if you're not with a good person, you're looking at things as though as the glass is half filled. And so that is absolutely, even people who are in the dark want to hold the light, and you are that light. So since you are that light, I don't want you to withdraw from society. I don't want you to stay in your room and eat bonbons and watch television. I want you to fine tune and mature that energy, because once it's mature, what happens is you get there's a different level, a different version of mating energy that you get. You get more of a secure uh, woman, self confidence, understanding your strength, discovering who you are as a woman. You get more of a purpose once you have subscribed and became fine-tuned and matured that energy, versus where you are the innocent little girl that people are looking at as though it's easy to take from you because you're so innocent. See, immature maiden energy has the ability to reset. So just imagine, if you offend her, she forgives you and she forgets it. And see, that's the thing I need you to work on also. I don't want you to not forgive, but I definitely don't want you to ever forget. I need you to start learning from your experiences so that you can start to level up and step into being a grown woman with that maiden energy. And one that's very purposeful, one is very secure, one is very confident, one is very intuitive and empathetic, because we need that energy. We need more of that energy in the world, because if you actually look around, the more that these type of women withdraw, the more jaded and negative that the world becomes. Maiden energy is such pure light, such pure joy. And a lot of people will be attracted to that. That's the reason why it's important that women who have that maiden energy, that you mature it and you learn how to have boundaries. I'm not saying hide it, because you can't hide what you are. Not when it comes to this, not to that innocence. You can't hide it. And since you cannot hide that innocence, you can't hide that purity that comes off of you. You can't hide that sensitivity. I want you to have more boundaries, and I want you to go on a journey of self discovery and start to take your power back. I want you to understand your strengths so you can step into your womanhood. I want you to become very secure so that you can not be an energetic match for people who want to manipulate and use you. That is the reason why you have people that come into your life and they want to use you, because it's like taking candy from a baby. You're very you reset every all the time. So you see something that happens to you're easy to forgive. You easily forgive that person and you start all over again. And so people want that. People want to experience that. So you're not going to have a you're not gonna it's not like you're not gonna have a lot of people wanting to be around you. I'm gonna say you're gonna attract everything, the good, the bad, the evil, the so the whatever. You're gonna attract it all through that innocence and purity that you have, that natural light that you have, that natural empathy that you have, that natural sensitivity that you have, that natural ability to see the glass half empty. That is what's going to attract so many people to you. But I need to encourage you to have more boundaries. You need to have strict boundaries in the way that you deal with people, because people will look at you as though that they can use you or manipulate you or take something from you. When you fine tune and mature this energy, you'll be able to kind of sense them a mile away, because your empathy is strengthened alone. And when you start looking at your empathy as your downfall, because anytime that I have to mentor women who have that maiden energy, they think that they have to be harder, that their empathy is their downfall, when your empathy is actually a superpower. The reason is, for instead of you utilizing it to look at the good in people, you can also utilize that empathy to be able to see people's energy, to be able to see how people are approaching you, so that you can avoid trouble. You can avoid people who want to use you or manipulate you. because you're going to attract that. And just like you will attract that, once you fine tune and mature that energy, you will attract healthy masculine providers because you're already the original damsel in distress. You are the original. You're the OG of the damsel in distress. People come up to you to help you. They see that you need directions. They walk up to you and help you with directions you didn't even ask. People have been coming up to you all the time and trying to help you and trying to give you something. But a lot of times on the back end of this, if you've been used and manipulated so much and you're so jaded by this energy because of what is brought into your life and you've been manipulated, used, been controlled and abused, and egomaniacs seem to be attracted to you, you may start to turn people away just because of the fact that they have you used to getting things, but a lot of times it hasn't worked out. In that immature energy, it hasn't worked out. And so what happens, you start to turn them away because you've decided to withdraw from the world because of the fact that it hasn't worked out. And then you start to have a jaded mentality about people, and you just stay away from them. And so what I've found to be true is that the women that I have coached in the past who have that Maiden energy, I've had to help them rebuild their self-confidence and get them secure and help them to build strict boundaries because they want this. They want happy ever after. They want to be provided for, but they have been on the other end of mistreatment because of what they attract in, because that energy is too passive. That energy is too passive and doesn't understand the strength that energy has. Once it's fine-tuned and matured, the strength that you will have is the strength that you're going to be surprised that you do have. So once it's fine-tuned and matured, you're going to see yourself being more self-confident. You're going to see yourself speaking up for yourself. You're going to see yourself operating for your purpose. You're going to see yourself having strict boundaries where instead of everybody coming to you and you becoming more passive and just allowing people to take your power and doing things because you want to be liked or you want people to feel good around you, you're actually going to stop doing that through your boundaries. Because I'm not telling you to not be stingy with your energy, because you can't be stingy with something that is. That's the hard part with women who have Maiden energy. They don't understand it is that you offer and you vibrate on the energy of pure energy, innocence, playfulness, and it's highly attractive to the light and the dark. Hey, Hessie. I love it, but you're right. Experienced a lot, wanted to close myself off. Yes, forgive to release energy ties. Absolutely. Ignoring our intuition for the sake of being liked, accepted is hugely detrimental as a Maiden. My biggest lesson. Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things is maidens, since they are pure energy, pure innocence, um, pure pleasure, pure childlike innocence, what happens is they tend to allow others to make the hard decisions so that they can be a bypasser in their own life and so that they can daydream. And the thing is, you can still daydream, but you have to absolutely establish and structure your life first. You absolutely have to put boundaries in place around you because there's no hiding that light that you carry. That light is absolutely important to this world. The more that you see Maiden energy, and I'm telling you right now, I see too many women with the Maiden energy kind of withdrawing from society. They're deciding, let me just be at home and relax, and I don't have to worry about anybody bothering me. They're at home dancing in their living room. They're at home singing along to the radio. They're at home doing the fun things that they would normally do out in the world, but they have withdrawn from the world because they have become jaded by it. And that has given them a different, that has affected their world and how they move in it. And so you want to make sure that since you have this deep empathy and sensitivity, you need to prime those skills, those gifts that you have, because that is a gift. Having sensitivity and empathy is absolutely a gift because you can hone those gifts to be able to sense out things before they happen. But when you're in that immature energy, You're just empathetic to any and everybody. You're empathetic to the people who disrespect you. You're empathetic to the people who hurt you. You're empathetic to you're empathetic to the wrong type of people, and those people end up taking advantage of you. And then you're like, I want to be something else. But you are innocence. You are purity. You are a light that is absolutely needed. The more that we have women in that grown maiden energy, the more hope comes in the world, the more empathy and sensitivity is absolutely valued, the more vulnerability can be valued. But the more that these women are kind of rejecting and withdrawing from the world, you can feel the shift of these women leaving and withdrawing because they've become jaded by it. And us, other feminine archetypes, we haven't done our due diligence of stepping into our archetype to be able to protect that innocence. Because I have friends that are the maiden energy, and I do take the time to make sure I'm protecting that energy because I don't want her to lose it. And I guarantee you all, one of the things I found being around women who have that maiden energy, all of them have like horror stories. Like they don't, all of them have some kind of situation or experience that created this jadedness within them. The ones who are on the other side of that, who have had to do the self-discovery, who had to have the strict boundaries, who had to take their personal power back, those are the ones who are living a different life. But it's going to require that a woman who has an immature maiden energy, that she fine-tunes and matures that energy so that she can step into it and not reject the natural gifts that God has given her. Because that energy is seen, it's felt. You can feel when that person has that maiden energy of innocence, of being naive and fun and childlike. And usually your instincts as a person who has done development is supposed to step up and protect. But of course, we have so many people who have rejected doing the inner work for themselves, so they don't even recognize they're supposed to protect that energy. It's just like the energy of a child. Okay, an energy of a child. I'm not saying that reduces the woman just because she has the energy of a child, because you can still mature and fine tune that energy and keep childlike energy within you. And you're fun to be around. You're easy to be around. You're also very with the glass half full. You're very optimistic. I love being around optimistic people. That's probably why I have friends who have maiden energy, because they have an unlimited supply of optimism. And I like being around people who speak about things in a way where it's always options and there's opportunities and there's abundance, versus people who are like, oh, it's doom and gloom. Oh, people people who talk about, oh, the economy is always it's going down. The United States is not going to be around forever. I don't want to listen to people talk about that all the time. That's the reason why I have and surrounded myself with a lot of women who have maiden energy as one of their dominant energies, because I like optimism. And so with you having an optimism, and the more that you don't have boundaries, the more that you have implemented strict boundaries in your life, the more you will be taken advantage of, the more jadedness you will have. Because once you start letting that jadedness in as a maiden energy, it just goes down from there. You go from being very jaded to being a victim, and you just continue to go down from there where you want to withdraw. I think I answered that question. How do you go about helping women mature? Fine-tuning and maturing their energy. If you have that, if your dominant energy is maiden energy, the first thing you need to do is have strict boundaries. Figure out what boundaries that you're missing and implement them. And then once you've implemented those boundaries, I need you to start taking back your personal power, because the more that you give your personal power over to someone else, you're giving your livelihood and your life and your energy over to them. So I'm going to need you to step into your personal power and stop allowing people to use and manipulate you. Your energy is going to attract light and dark. And since you already know that energy is so abundant, light, and pure, of course, darkness is going to desire that energy. Of course, that's where the boundaries come into play. You don't have to worry about being stingy with the energy. You have to focus more on boundaries with your energy. You want to make sure that you, instead of just constantly forgiving, and this is something I had to learn myself. I remember my grandmother told me, forgive, but don't forget. I need you to not forget. You keep resetting. Every time that person yells at you, disrespects you, or hurts you, you keep resetting. It's like a new day for you because you have that unlimited optimism within you. So you keep resetting, but you keep forgetting and you don't learn from the experience. Now I need you to focus in on learning from that experience. So learning from that experience will help you grow so that you avoid that experience in the future. But if you keep closing your eyes and resetting and daydreaming and becoming a bystander in your life, you don't get the opportunity to fine tune and mature that energy. So I am going to need you to stop resetting. Stop. You can forgive. I absolutely do believe in forgiveness. I teach forgiveness in any of my workshops and programs. I've talked about forgiveness and how forgiveness is for you and not for them. But forgetting is problematic. You should not be forgetting that someone spoke to you in a very derogatory way. You should not be forgetting that someone treated you badly. You should not be forgetting that someone manipulated you. You should not be forgetting that someone used you. That's the problem with immature maiden energy. She keeps forgetting and she doesn't learn from those experiences. And she keeps having them over and over and over. And that's how I go in and push them to break the cycle. We start really honing in and focusing on the experiences that she's had and changing the way that she looks at these experiences. I don't encourage her for not forgiving them. I want her to forgive them. Remember, forgiveness is for you and not for them. But I don't want you to forget. You have to stop resetting. You keep closing your eyes, resetting, and you're still in the same space. You haven't moved. You're a bystander. And this is also how you end up attaching to the wrong people. Because guess what? Egomaniacs, narcissistic people, controlling and abusive people look for people that give their power over. And so you end up attaching to that person who's going to make decisions for you so you can daydream, so that you don't have to take personal responsibility and personal power for your direction in life. And you end up being in the same cycle over and over and over. Then you get tired of the cycle because you haven't figured out how to fine tune and mature that energy, and you just withdraw or reject the world. And then we lose more of that innocence and purity that comes with you because it's all over you. It's in your energy. They can sense it. And that's the reason why it's not about being stingy with their energy. It's more about having boundaries because they can sense that you're innocent. They can sense that mating energy off of you. They can sense that empathy, that sensitivity. And the ones who see and can sense that energy, and regardless if they have good or bad intentions, if they have bad intentions, of course, they're going to use it. So it is important that women who have that mating energy go on a self-discovery journey. You don't have the option of sitting back, allowing yourself to not go on that journey. It's absolutely beneficial if you have that mating energy, that immature mating energy within you, that you go on a self-discovery journey. It is important that you know who you are as a woman, that you know what your purpose is, that you understand your energy. That journey is actually more important to you than any other archetype, just because of the fact that you radiate, you put out energy of innocence. And we live in a world where they try to taint innocence, where they try to tear down innocence. Like, think about it when you were in school and you might have been the girl who wasn't doing things as other girls were doing it. Maybe you were a little shy and insecure and you weren't going on dates. You weren't kissing boys. You weren't doing any of that stuff. And you may have gotten made fun of because you weren't moving as fast as the other girls, because you have that mating energy and people can sense it. And people who have bad intentions, they sense it and they want to tear it down. That is the reason why it's so important that a woman who has that energy, she matures and fine tunes that energy so she can be self-confident, and she can be like, just because they're doing something doesn't mean it's proper, it's the right thing for me. I don't have to do it because they're doing it. You have to be able to stand on your own. Like I said before, if once a woman who has that energy, that maiden energy, it's downhill from there when she starts to become very jaded. She gets jaded, and then she gets very negative, and then she she steps into this victim mentality and starts to reject and withdraw from the world. And we need this energy in the world. We need more innocence. We need more people to be activated so they can step up and protect innocence. But when we have women who have this energy and they just reject or withdraw, it's actually understandable. I'm not saying that while you're in a phase of healing and discovering yourself that you can't step away and withdraw, but I don't want you to step away and withdraw forever. Because the more that you withdraw, the more that you reject, the more that it's harder for you to step back into society, basically. It gets a little bit harder for you than any other archetype once you start to withdraw. So I think I answered that question about how I help. Facts. I feel like we're late bloomers. Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the reason why it's so important that women who have that mating energy, that if you're you're a late bloomer, you have certain standards, you have certain moral codes that you stand under, certain beliefs. You have to have self-confidence to be able to stand on that. And when you're in that immature energy, you might feel like that you need to do what everybody else is doing. And you might sacrifice a piece of yourself to be able to do what they're doing, just not so you don't feel like you left behind. Because one of the biggest fear is abandonment for the maiden, is being left behind, being rejected. One thing I've noticed about maidens is they constantly worry about other people's expectations, specifically what men like, how to please them, how to respond to their manipulative behaviors. I can agree with that. I can agree with that, especially if they're in an immature maiden energy. See, the thing is, the immature maiden is very passive, very passive. That can get them in trouble. Being very passive and not taking your power back and understanding what your power is and your strengths can be very problematic to the maiden. Because when you're passive, you're going to be more focused in on what other people are doing and how other people feel about you versus what you feel about you and what's best for you. That's the reason why, if you want to fine tune that energy, you need to go into self-discovery. You need to get on a journey of discovering who you are as a woman and fine tuning and maturing that energy and getting yourself some strict boundaries, because good, bad, evil, happy, light, it doesn't matter. All of it's going to come your way because the world loves innocence. And there's a sector of the world that wants to taint innocence or tear down innocence. And so it's like taking candy from a baby. If you heard that expression, that applies to when it comes to immature maidens. It's like taking candy from a baby. They easily give it away. They're easy to manipulate. They're easily passive. They don't speak up for themselves. They care more about other people's expectations of them, what other people want from them. They're people pleasers at heart. But when it starts to mature, it starts to be fine-tuned, then she will show up differently. She's going to show up in a way where she's very confident and responsible for her actions and responsible for herself and understands her strength. She's going to move as the woman that she desires to be. She moves with purpose then when she matures and fine-tunes that energy. So it's not about getting rid of that energy, because I've met women who like, I want to get rid of it. You don't need to get rid of it. You need to fine-tune and mature it. You need to fine-tune and mature that energy instead of getting rid of that energy, because that energy is highly attractive to healthy masculine providers. You already get people trying to provide or give you something because they see the innocence. You get people who want to help you. They give you information when you're not even looking for it because of the energy that you already have that's inherently a part of you. Just imagine what would happen when you fine-tune it and you mature it and you're moving differently. No longer will you be the punching bag of society. So you don't have to get rid of that energy. You just need to fine tune it. I feel like all of the archetypes, feminine energies are important to society and important to womanhood. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Absolutely. Strict boundaries. It's not about trying to be stingy with your energy. You're trying to pull something back that's inherently a part of you. That's the reason why it's harder to kind of pull that away. It's harder to pull away empathy because empathy is needed. Sensitivity is needed. Abundance mindset is needed. So all these things are needed. So it's hard to really be stingy with it. So I'm not telling you to be stingy with it. I'm telling you what I've seen work with women who have maiden energy, and I'm trying to fine tune and help them mature the energy, is strict boundaries. They have strict boundaries. They start to see their lives improve. You're going to have to move in a way. You remember when I tell you all to be a one-hitter quitter? When it comes to that mating energy and you're trying to fine tune and mature it, you're going to have to be a one-hitter quitter. You're going to have to let people go very quickly when they're hurting you, using you, manipulating you. You're going to have to utilize the gifts that you're given in feminine energy of empathy and sensitivity and abundance, and learn how to pinpoint when these people are not going to be in alignment with where you're going. That's the reason why it's important for you to do the self-discovery, because then the self-discovery helps unlock the purpose, and the purpose unlocks self-confidence. And so now you get to move in a different way. Low self-confidence, and it's hard for them to say no. Go along to get along types. Even good men will see this and smell a free opportunity to take an OF. Have to be careful. Advantage. Got you. Absolutely. In total agreement. Thank you, because I don't want to lose this energy, and a lot of advice, the emotions, unbotheredness, etc., doesn't feel good because it doesn't work for you, because you are inherently that thing. You're inherently putting off that energy. Certain things you can't just be unbothered about. It's not about being unbothered for maiden energy. It's more about strict boundaries. It's about putting your foot down when you see something isn't going right. It's about speaking up for yourself when it's needed. That is what's going to be more important to maiden energy than to be stingy with the energy, because it's hard to be stingy with energy when it's inherently you. These things that make you, the maiden. It's you being empathetic. It's you being sensitive. It's you being having, I don't know why I won't be wanting to say ambitious. It's not ambitious. It is you believing in the good in people that you don't want to lose. That's absolutely needed. We need to keep that type of energy. We don't want to forsake that energy. We don't want it to be rejected. And we definitely don't want that energy to become jaded. We need more of it, because we have more of pessimists, Debbie Downers, the doom and gloom type, versus the maiden that has the innocence, the empathy, and the believing in good people and sensitivity. So we don't want to lose that. If you actually look around, you can see you come across people with less optimism. And I feel like the more that you're in these spaces like mine, that's the reason why you gotta be careful where you are and where you spend your time at, especially if you have maiden energy, because you don't want to try to become something that you aren't. You want to keep those gifts. You want to keep that energy within you, and you just want to fine tune it and mature it instead of try to be something that you aren't. So if you're just coming in, I'm going to say the first thing you need to do is you need to have strict boundaries. Okay? To fine tune that energy, you need to have strict boundaries so you don't attach yourself to the wrong people. Then also, you need to learn how to, instead of forgetting, I need you to learn from experience. Instead of closing your eyes and starting over all the time, that just leaves you being more of a bystander in your own life. So I need you to learn from experience. I need you to learn from the situation that you've went through. Instead of forgiving and staying still, because that's what you have the tendency to do. You have the tendency to forgive easily, and nothing wrong with forgiveness, but you don't need to forget. That's harming you when you forget and you start over with the person who keeps hurting you over and over. You want to heal from the person who hurt you, and that's not even possible. So I need you to go on a self-discovery journey. I need you to really understand yourself as a woman, understand who you are as a woman, your purpose, and get you some direction in life. Because the more that you don't take responsibility for you, the more you're going to attach yourself to the wrong people. Remember, immature maiden energy always attract very narcissistic, egotistical people, abusive people, and controlling people, because they understand it's like taking candy from a baby. So I need you to get on that self-discovery journey. I need you to know yourself inside and out. I need you to take responsibility for your life. I need you to put the power back in your hands instead of offloading it on somebody else. You can make good decisions for yourself just as well as anybody else. So, because once you've matured and you fine-tune that energy, you become more responsible for your life. You're going to have a life that has direction, and you're going to be able to attract more healthy masculine providers instead of someone who wants to control, abuse, or use you. You're going to be more self-confident, secure, and you're going to understand your power as woman. You're going to attract younger people, which you probably already do now. Even in immature maiden energy, you probably attract younger people because you have that energy of youth and innocence. So people see you as young regardless of looks. You're going to have an identity for yourself, inner strength, compassion, and very spiritual. It's like the maiden has to be like that little girl that says no, then runs away because she can sense that a bad guy, then goes back to playing and having fun. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jazz, because that's what the maiden has to do. The more that energy is highly attractive and highly addictive. People like being around people who has an optimistic outlook on life. They eat it up. And then just imagine being around someone who's always going to forgive you and not take it personally. So people are going to be attracted to you whether they're good or bad. My thing is, I want you to have strict boundaries. I want you to run when you're not receiving the things that you desire from people. I want you to have boundaries in every area of life. I want you to realize that you are a jewel to society, and that if you continue to withdraw, we will feel that shift. We're going to feel the energetic shift the more maidens leave, because they hold light and hope. They hold the energy of innocence within them. It doesn't matter if they're a little girl or grown woman. The more that we see that innocence begin to be tainted in this world, the more you're going to get more pessimistic, negative, jaded people walking around. And the world doesn't need or desire that. When you absolutely understand how the world works, you understand that the more that you have jadedness, negativity, and evil running amok, you're going to see that more manifested on the planet. The more that we have more innocence, play, fun, ambitious. Well, not ambitious. It's not ambitious. Like I said, I don't know why I keep saying ambitious. Optimistic. The more of that, you're going to have more. You're going to have one or the other. And if you actually look at the energetic shift that you're feeling on this planet, you can feel that innocence is starting to leave the building. That purity, that light is starting to leave the building. So we don't want you to reject the world or withdraw from it. We want you to come back into the world and be stronger and better than ever. But you have to fine tune and mature that energy. It's a requirement. Every energy has to be fine tuned and matured, by the way. You're not the only energy that's required to do so. It's just going to be different things that are required from each energy and each archetype. So if you've come across a lot of videos and you're dominant in the maiden energy, and the only thing they tell you is to just be unbothered, be cold, be emotionless, that's hard for you to do, because inherently all of the natural gifts that you have as the maiden is empathy, is sensitivity, is intuition, and is harmony. Maiden energy seeks out harmony. So all of these things that they're suggesting to you, it's going to be harder for you to do because inherently, though that is not who you are. That is not the energy that you have. That is not the feminine power that you stand or have within you. So of course it's not going to work as well. What's going to work as well is if you getting strict boundaries and you being a person who has boundaries in every area of life that's needed. A person who goes on a self-discovery journey to learn who she is. A person who is able to forgive but not forget. These things are going to be more helpful for you versus the advice that you keep seeing over and over and over, especially if your dominant energy is Maiden. This is for you. And this is how you're going to be able to level up and be treated like a queen, is by doing the things I've mentioned so far. And I've seen it work on other Maiden energy, that they're able to still maintain that energy. And instead of withdrawing and rejecting the world, they come back stronger and better than ever. They didn't understand prior that they needed to take personal power and responsibility for life, because all their life they have been looked at as though they need a helping hand. Remember, the Maiden energy is the original damsel in distress. So that energy is used to people coming up trying to help them out. Even if they look lost, someone's going to come up, give them direction. If they look like they have a need or they are confused, someone's going to come up there and see if they can help them. That energy is very powerful because it's so innocent and so pure. And with that type of energy, people can, if it's not matured and fine-tuned, then it can be used. It can be used and you can attach yourself to the wrong person. That's the reason why I say a lot of the women that I have coached prior, they had the Maiden energy. They all had like horror stories of being used and manipulated, being married and being with narcissists and abusive men. And once we did the work, the self-discovery, doing the work of self, that is when they start to step in their power as women and learn to speak up for themselves and learn to put boundaries where boundaries are needed, and learn to forgive but not forget. And they came off on the back end of that being very self-confident and able to attract healthy masculine providers, because the immature Maiden energy can attract providers. It's just normally not the right kind. It's the right kind is not going to be attracted to the woman who hasn't or has no understanding of her own personal power. So she ends up being with someone who wants to take her power and utilize it for themselves. Another reason that let me tell you why I love working with women who have that Maiden energy. I love working with them because they're very receptive and they're open to learning. If I was to say, they're like my easiest archetype to work with because of the fact they're easy to learn and they're open. They're open to it. What do you suggest for self-discovery work for maidens? Usually, I tell a maiden to always start from, who am I? Who am I? It may sound like an easy journal prompt, but you would be surprised how many people cannot answer that question without it being a role that they play. Most people, when they think of who am I, they think about, oh, I'm a teacher, I work here, I have 4 kids. That's not who you are. Who is the woman? Start there. It's inner work, basically, that you would need to do. You need to do intensive inner work. Inner work is absolutely important for you fine-tuning and maturing that energy, especially if the Maiden energy is your dominant energy. Then you want to fine-tune and mature, which, like I said, I'm going to be saying it for every feminine archetype that I do. I'm only going to do the ones that you all suggest in chat or in my replay. I won't continue the series unless you all are letting me know that you're interested in talking about those feminine archetypes. Because I don't want to do content that y'all are not interested in. I'm here for you all to support my community. So I want to do content that you want to see. But yeah, inner work is going to be your thing. Inner work is what you're going to have to focus in on. You're going to have to Do the inner work to figure out who you are as a woman and take your power back. Stop offloading your powers to others. You can make decisions just as well as they can. And the decision that you make will actually be more intuitive to where you need to go. But the more that you offload your decisions to other people, they're making decisions on what they desire or what they want, not maybe what you need. So take your power back. And that's what maidens have to do. You have to take your power back. You have to take that personal responsibility that you have for your life and direction that you're in. You have to take that power back. The more that you don't, the more that you reject. You can reject it, of course. Like I said, we have maidens that have rejected society and have removed themselves from it anyway. And if that is what you desire, because I understand, like I said, most of the women that I have coached that has that dominant energy of maiden, they have went through horror stories. But that also is what helped wake them up too. I'm not saying it's all bad or good, but I'm just saying it helped wake them up to realize they need to take their personal power back and take responsibility for life so they can decide what direction they want to go in life versus being told. Because this energy gets advice a lot. People literally walk up to this energy and be like, hey, this is what you need to do in life. They don't ask you for advice. They try to tell you or give you advice because your energy is so, you're inherently that energy of innocence and purity and light. So people walk up to you and they give you advice and you didn't ask them for it. People offer you help and you didn't ask them for it. So remember, if you want me to continue this feminine archetype series, I'm going to need you to let me know in the replay, because I think I got 2 more suggestions in the comment section of the last replay. I need you to let me know so we can continue if it's something you're interested in seeing. All right. Do we have any other questions or anything you want to add to this live stream? Let me make sure I went over everything I needed to go over. I think that is all I have as far as the maiden. But I need you to fine tune and mature that energy. I don't want you to withdraw or reject the world or reject the desire or purpose or things that you want out of this life because of the experiences that you had. If you could take some of the things that I've talked about in this video and apply it to your life, you will see things improve. Remember, the feminine archetype is not about the gospel. I'm not saying that you have to do these things. I want you to use these things as a guide and a muse, not as this is the gospel, I have to follow it this way. But I need you to fine tune this energy so that we can have it in this world, because we need more of you. We need more of that optimism. We need more of that sensitivity, empathy, and intuition. The more it withdraws, the more you can feel the energetic shift in the world. That is the reason why when you go on social media, you see nothing but the energy of pessimism, victim mentality, anger. You see all the things that is starting to multiply because a lot of the innocence, the women who hold that energy, they're withdrawing. It may not even be your dominant energy. It may be your secondary energy. Maybe mating is your secondary energy. It's still highly important. It still needs to be highly developed. All these things you receive are gifts. Stop thinking that it's a bad thing to be dominant in maiden energy. It's not. It's absolutely a great thing. You have so many gifts. You just haven't fine-tuned or matured that energy, and you don't understand the gifts that you've been given. So I don't see anything else in my chat or any other comments. So I want to make sure you take the time to like the video. I appreciate you ladies for supporting me all the way to the end. I'm dating a wealthy man and I feel inferior compared to him. It's my first time dating two money man, but I can't but feel like we just not on the same level. Inner work. You're gonna need some inner work, babe, because of the fact that, let me tell you this. If you were an energetic match to him, you wouldn't be dating him. You're psyching yourself out. Don't psych yourself out, especially if you feel like this is a good thing. You should never feel inferior to anyone. You're just as good as him. If you remove his money, he's still a man and you're still a woman. And maybe you need to look at him as though he's a man and remove the money and stop thinking that you're inferior to him, because you aren't. But do your inner work, because you wouldn't be attracting this type of man if you weren't an energetic match to him in the first place. It sounds like you have some work to do. Who in Hollywood, dead or alive, would you say is a healthy representation of Maiden? Dead or alive? Oof. Well, y'all know I'm not a person. I'm not a television person, by the way. I can't think of in Hollywood a maiden in Hollywood. I don't have any suggestions for that. Not in Hollywood. Like I know one in real life. Like my best friend is a maiden, and she's well taken care of by her husband. But she has a horror story. Before him. So I don't have any for Hollywood representation. I don't have one because I don't keep up with Hollywood. I don't watch television, so I have no idea. Someone else has one. You all can drop one in the chat because I have no idea. That's why it's important to take breaks from SM. Okay. This was so helpful. Princess Diana is a maiden. Okay. I don't know a lot about Princess Diana. Like I said, I'm not a person about celebrities or television. I barely watch TV. I barely watch movies. So I have no idea. When I think about my examples of maiden or any feminine archetype, it's going to be people in my real life or in my membership, because I think I have one or two maidens in my membership. And I have watched them grow from the immature maiden energy to the mature maiden energy. I watched them go for, I can't do this. I'm scared to do this. I'm scared to try this, to Braille. I'm going here. I'm going out here. I'm going, scared to even go out by themselves. And then I've watched them, grow and mature to the point to fine tune their energy where they can go out by themselves, where they can go out for coffee. And so I've seen that energy evolve in real life. So I don't really have examples because of the fact every feminine archetype, I probably give an example from somebody in my real life or membership. But I don't have anything else. I'm going to go ahead and close out. I appreciate you all for being here all the way to the end. I will see you all on the next one. Remember, drop your next feminine archetype. I'm going to choose from there. If I don't see anything out in the series here, I know series normally ends with about three or more videos, but I will end it if I don't get any. I don't get a sense that you all are interested in this type of content. That's okay. I have tons of content that's coming up for you all. I appreciate you all and your support, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye.